Today we're talking about the brand new 7Artisans 9mm f5.6. Now, in case you missed it, 7Artisans just released a brand new ultra-wide lens in the form of the 9mm f5.6, and that's what we're going to talk about here today. But before we do, I do want to mention that 7Artisans asked me to review this lens, but I'm not getting paid and I get to say whatever I want, and so you are going to get my full and honest opinion. Now, diving right into my thoughts on this lens, let's talk about the overall image quality of the new 9mm f5.6. I had an absolute blast in using this lens. Having this 9mm ultra wide field of view just makes everything a little bit more interesting. I did use it for a more stylized black and white portrait shoot, and it was perfect for that shoot because it did give me something a little bit more unique having that ultra wide field of view. Now, talking about performance, this lens is going to be plenty sharp, especially in the center. There's not going to be a ton of chromatic aberration because it is a slower lens, but I would not be surprised if you see some chromatic aberration in some of the shots. And then on top of that, the minimum focusing distance is also on par with most ultra wide angle lenses. You are able to get pretty close to your subject, again, to get something more unique and stylized as far as composition. Now, the biggest issue for me when it comes to image performance, I found that the infinity focus is not calibrated properly, at least on my unit. But other than the infinity focus, like I said before, I had a ton of fun with this lens. I love the image performance of this lens. So let's go over and talk about the build of the lens. Now, just like any 7Artisans lens as of late, this is going to be a small tank of a lens, an all metal lens. It is going to have a little more of a bulbous front, being a fisheye lens, and so that is something you do want to keep in mind. But you are going to have a built-in lens hood, and the front cap is going to be a slide-on cap, just like most ultra-wide lenses. The lens is going to be available in Sony E mount, Canon RF mount, Leica L mount, as well as Nikon Z mount, and so it is going to be available for a decent variety of full frame cameras. And depending on what camera you're using it with, it can be a light and small package, being that this lens is 3.1 inches long and 2.2 inches wide and only weighs a pound. Now, I should say this is a fully manual photo lens, and so some things you do want to keep in mind is that there is going to be a manual focus ring, and being that it is a photo-centric lens, the focus throw is going to be very short. And on top of that, the iris ring or the aperture ring is going to be clicked. But as far as the overall build of the lens, I'm pretty happy with it. It's a very sturdy lens. And so let's talk about who this lens is for. With the lens coming in at right around $479, this is an absolutely amazing option for people that are wanting an ultra wide lens on a budget. Now, while $479 is not super cheap, I do think it's a really good budget option. And so if you are somebody that does more architectural photography, or you need something a little bit more stylized and you want that ultra wide look on a budget, then I would absolutely check out the 7Artisans 9mm f5.6. And so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like. And if you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. As always, thank you for joining. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Peace.